Today, I'm going to be going over my top 4 characters in Rivals that you should probably learn in order to see improvement in your gameplay and overall just win more games in Season 3.5 or even before Season 3.5. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because I think after the patch notes have dropped in developer blog about Season 3.5, I think a lot of characters that haven't seen a lot of playtime in ranked or even tournament play are probably going to see more spotlight now that they could potentially have a role in the game as a whole. Now, if you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering why there's not 5 characters. I'm gonna be honest, I cannot think of a fifth one, so I'm going to just go with 4. Now, at the top of the list, at number 4, I'm gonna pick Blade. I know he hasn't released yet, but judging on all the trailers we've seen and the early access gameplay that has been shown, I really think he's going to be one of the characters that, if executed really well, has a role in the meta and could be devastating in the right hands of a right DPS player. Now, the reason I think he's going to be a really good DPS as a whole, and if you play him, you're probably going to be just a murderer on the field, just dominating left to right. It's just specifically that he has a reduced healing ability, whether it be with his shotgun or his ultimate. And I think since he's going to be one of the only characters in the game that has an answer to that, I think he's going to be able to change the meta as a whole and address the amount of sustain that we've seen in this game. And I also think if it's received well, the developers could possibly add more characters that have this mechanic and not necessarily, nerf support as a whole. Now, for the DPS players that are probably going to insta-lock him on day 1, which might be me, honestly, I think due to the fact he's so complicated with the amount of abilities he has, is going to teach a lot of DPS players to use their abilities super effectively, because it looks like if you stick to one form of gameplay with Blade, you're not going to really get that much value in his gameplay. And I think it can teach a lot of players to, when it's appropriate to swatch to your shotgun or your sword. And I think another thing he can teach DPS players is when to engage and when not to, because a lot of his gameplay is you have to be at a certain rate to get the most value. So I think he's going to have a sense in brawl comps where you could kind of go in when your team is in and just cause a lot of chaos and destruction to get the most value and help your team push, whether it be capture, defend, or any type of, objective that you're trying to take over. Coming in at the number 3 spot, I think she has been forgotten for a really long time, ever since Season 0. I think it's gonna be Mantis. I think after the patch notes have dropped and we've received a lot of information on how she's gonna potentially be really good this season, I think she's worth learning in this season before the next one, or even just if you want to wait till the season drops to get a hang for her. I think she's going to be really good next season, solely to the fact she has 2 team ups that are really good, one being with Groot and the other one being with Loki, and the fact her ultimate is getting buffed by, I think, 0.5, I think it is. I don't know, I have a picture of it on screen, but her ult is getting buffed, and the fact she's getting a 10% healing buff just shows that the developers see she's kind of on the weaker side. And I think just on that alone, she's going to see a lot more play in a 2-2-2 setting, and having 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and 2 supports, because most of the time she was only really used in triple support comps, like another character we're going to get to, and also just a res comp before they took out the team up. But I think after this patch releases, I think Mantis is going to see a lot more gameplay and could potentially be back on top where she was in Season 0. Now, coming in at the number 2 spot, this is a character who's, a favorite of mine. I enjoy playing him a lot, and that would be Adam Warlock. Now, Adam is kind of on the same boat as Mantis, surely to the fact he was only really used for res comp. He kind of only was seen in triple support as well, and his ult was, not really the greatest. I think we've seen a lot of clips of just an Adam ulting and then their entire team just dying after, he rezzed, and it's like, okay, well, what was the point of rezzing? Kind of just wasting an ultimate just to get, clip farm. But that's besides the point. Adam in the patch notes got a major buff, that being his ultimate. When he revives someone, they're going to receive 70% of their maximum health back after they've been rezzed. And I think that has been one of the best changes he received. And not only that, he's going to have his primary healing much more active due to the fact that they buffed his cosmic cluster, whether it be, I don't know if it's right click on PC, but it's left trigger on console, that every time you hit someone with it, I think you get half a second back of your primary. Again, I don't know if that's the exact number. I would picture of it, but I think just on that alone, he's going to be much more consistent in his healing. And like Mantis, he could probably be seen in, you know, a 2-2-2 setting and not be forced to a triple support comp, because they took out res comp. It's gone. You can't use it anymore. It's gone forever. As of, you know, when 3.5 launches. And I think hopefully, you know, that we'll see more play of, you know, Adam Warlock and Mantis. And I also think one thing about Adam that's really cool is he's a support that requires a lot of mechanical skill to get value, because his damage is really good. But in order to get that value, you have to hit your shots. And I think if you're a DPS player, I think he's worth learning surely solely for the fact that he is a hit scan. And I think if you're a Hela, a Bucky, or even a Punisher player, you get a lot of value just hitting your shot on Adam. And I think he's just really cool. And I think if you like characters that are hit scan, you should definitely check out Adam. Now, for the number one spot, this character, along with Luna Snow, has not been nerfed. I can't tell you from the top of my head why the developers won't nerf Luna. She's probably their favorite child, you know, let's just be real here. But I think this character has just been increasingly getting more and more powerful as the seasons go on. He's got small nerfs here and there, but I think unless they directly just nerf a part of his kit, he's going to be really strong until, you know, they just actually properly nerf him, which is fine. But I think the number one spot is going to be Loki. I think Loki is very, very strong. He has not seen any tier list. He's not been in any tier list that he has been S tier or below. You know, you can look at any streamer. He has been ridiculously strong. And I just think him being able to just copy any support in the game just grants him that number one spot. Not only that, he's getting a team up with Mantis that his lamp, his immortality, can now damage boost alongside healing. And I think just that alone gives him the number one spot. So yeah, that's my top four. Let me know if you agree with it. Let me know if you're going to learn these characters. I don't really have much to say. But yeah, that's what I think. Let me know if you guys enjoy. And I'll talk to you later.